sounds of it, you can tell it's fall. The geese are flying south, the leaves are starting to change, and guess what time it is? Time to put on your pond net. Now I may have waited just a little bit too long. As you can see by the leaves on the trees behind me, they've already begun to change. However, the tree directly above my pond has not. So I think I beat them to the punch here. So I'm gonna get my pond net on this beautiful fall day. I'm gonna leave my waterfall running throughout the fall season. And as it gets closer to winter, I will remove my UV light and shut down my pond. When you shut down your pond, be sure to keep your aerator in the water to keep that water nice and oxygenated for your fish. Today we're going to be putting on the Laguna pond net. There's a link in the description below to get yourself one if you don't have one already. One word of warning, this net will never fit back in the box after the season's over. So you may want to get yourself a bag or something. I keep it in here just so I know what it is when I put it in my storage shed. But yeah, little tip. Also, it's always easier with a helping hand. Right now it's early morning. Everyone in my house is still sleeping, so I guess I'm on my own for this one. Maybe I can drag a kid out to help me or something, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's get started. All right, the easiest way to do this, lay your net out. Now my net is longer one way than it is the other. So what I'm gonna do, since I'm working alone, I did not trim these plants down. Now that's gonna help me out actually, because it's gonna keep the net above the water, because you don't want the net dragging in the water. If it does, all the leaves that collect is gonna act like a giant tea bag. And you can see my water right now, it has a brownish tint to it. There are some leaves in there that have made their way in. So I'm gonna have to do a water change in the spring, which I probably wind up doing anyways. Not complete, just partial. But anyways, these plants are gonna keep my net above the water. And then after the leaves fall, I will take the net off and trim those down in the freezing cold, because that's what it'll be at that time. So let's get started here. What you want to do, get yourself some tent stakes. These nets, they come with some little tiny plastic stakes, but they're pretty much garbage. They're not very long and they won't stay in very well. So just get yourself some tent stakes, and you just want to pound those in real good. I'm going to anchor it here, and what I've done is I've taken my net and I've doubled it up here to really hold it good, so I can get a nice tight net across the top of my pond. All right, I'm a one-man show today, so I'm going to shut the camera off and go do the next stake, and we'll be back when we get a little further. All right, guys, the net's on. I don't know if you can even see it. They're virtually invisible once you get them on, especially if you get some distance between you and the pond. Obviously, if you walk right up to it, you'll be able to see it. But, you know, I can see it from my house, and it doesn't look like the net's even there. So this is a perfect thing to save yourself some work. Keeps the leaves out. Make sure you get it on early enough in the season before the leaves start falling, because you can run into trouble there. For more information on getting your pond ready for winter, check out our blog post. Again, link in the description. Check out our pond closing video, where we went to Hans Ponds and listened to their pond closing seminar. Like I said, get your net up early and keep it tight. Once the leaves start falling on it, it may weigh it down. So at that point, get a leaf blower out and just blow the leaves off. Don't try using a rake, it'll get caught all in the net. You'll wind up with a huge mess. Leaf blower, the best option. As you can see from a distance, the net's virtually invisible, except for the leaves that seem like they're suspended in midair. So even with the net on, this is what's going to happen. We had an issue, we got a lot of rain. It brought the pond level up, and the leaves weighed the net down, so it was like the perfect storm. And now I have this giant bag of leaves just resting in my pond, and what that's going to do is going to turn my water color a horrible brown color. So in the spring we'll be doing a water change, but for now we are at about 40 degrees, 37 degrees today. I'm going to take this net off, get most of these leaves off, and then reapply it. The tree above, probably not the best place for a pond, but the tree above has lost most of its leaves from the wind. However, they're not all off, so that's why the net's going back on. At this time, I'm going to be removing my UV light, which is tucked away behind this planting here. It's my UV light. I'm just going to be turning off the valves. As you can hear, there's no sound of a waterfall. I shut my waterfall off. I'm going to remove my UV light, throw my aerator in, get these leaves off of here. Another thing you want to do is that I haven't done, we have a tropical plant there. That plant will not survive the cold winter. I have to remove that, trim it down, and store the bulbs in a cool, dark place. So make sure you do that if you have any tropicals and you live in a cold climate. Okay, so we've removed the net, and my water is pitch black just about from the leaves. They were sagging down in the water. Don't be concerned about that too much in the spring. It can all be corrected with a water change, which is what you're going to have to do, which is what I'm going to have to do. You can barely see my fish. They're down there saying, what the heck happened? But we're going to let this run for a little while longer. I'm going to remove my UV light, and we're going to run the system without the light in there for the fall for a little while. I am going to put the net back on because we're not quite finished yet, but we're getting there. All right, so we've gone around, we've trimmed up all of our plants. There was a tropical plant there. Be sure you remove those before it gets too cold because they won't survive, you'll kill them. I pulled the pot right out, I put it in a bag, I'm going to store it in the house in a dark place. So do that. I've removed my UV light. Now when you hook up your UV light, I hope you did it in a way that you can still run your filtration system with it disconnected. Back here, let me show you behind the scenes here. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I have a valve behind this grass here that can control the main flow of water to my waterfall. And then these two stubs come out and my UV light goes between them. I've removed it with everything off. Waterfall is still running, and we're going to enjoy this waterfall probably for another month or so until it gets too cold. When you shut your waterfall off, make sure there's some kind of aeration in your pond for your fish. And if you put a air pump, check out my other video on pond aeration. Put an air pump in the pond before it gets too cold, and it will keep the ice from capping over your pond. That's what kills the fish, not the cold. It's the suffocation. Anyways, check that video out if you're curious about pond aeration. I know as a pond owner that it seems like the fall just never ends, and it's just one more thing after another, and it's hard to find time to get this stuff done, but it's well worth it. This is what I do. I love it. I hope you do too. If you're watching this, obviously ponds is your thing too. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this useful. And as always, until next time, enjoy your backyard water garden.